Are you human, Chef?
Sure I am.
Guess you don't have to worry about dropping dead from illness.
Nah, we bite it just as hard if our head goes bad.
You could always make up a backup, right?
That'll be illegal.
Welcome, everybody. I am your host, Robert.
And I am Gio, Captain Chaos, back here at the HQ.
Finally, it was a nice surprise.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely, man.
I was working, and someone is at my door. I was in the middle of a meeting,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Give me a second. Someone is at my door. Who could that be?" And yeah, Captain Chaos is in my house. Please help.
Hello, baby.
Please help. Oh God. So
Now I have Robert here making bad choices because I'm here. My presence can be so influential.
so now that I have you face to face,
Ooh.
face to face,
Tell
what
me what you want to say to me.
what have you been watching sci-fi related?
Sci-fi related, what we're gonna cover today. Gate counter sci-fi? Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of fantasy slash sci-fi. Hyperdimensional kind of shit.
that is interesting. I've been thinking about it. I don't know.
I think it is.
If you guys out there have seen the anime called Gate, reach out to us and let us know what you think.
I think it's sci-fi fantasy, to be honest.
I don't know what to think. I honestly don't know what to think.
But I mean, besides that, I've been playing Cyberpunk, which is very sci-fi.
Definitely sci-fi.
That's like my game to go to.
Nice.
And I think that's it, man. I've been non-sci-fi related. I've been watching a bunch of animes. Good stuff, though. Very good stuff.
And if you're wondering,
And I had somebody that made me watch Star Trek again yesterday. Yeah, for our fans, still has not been able to indoctrinate me. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I enjoy it. I'm just not a Trekkie.
I won't give up.
Won't give up.
I won't give up.
Move your body.
So for all of you out there who are wondering, where's Ray Pike?
Well, Ray Pie was going. We'll let know all of our audience now. He was going through some health issues. Thank God, everything went well.
Thank God.
He's done a full recovery, and he should be back to a show any day. Today, he just couldn't make it for
It's a
the time
timing.
zones,
zone.
which it's a great thing to blame
Yeah.
nobody for. Just blaming the time zone.
Yeah. But yeah, we're excited. He's full recovery. We really, we're happy about that. So hopefully in the next episode we get to have our very own Ray Pike, our mad scientist.
Yeah, man. I mean, we can do I could say a third person outer remnant that thank God he's actually today in Radio Chaos. So I mean it's awesome to see him going up and about and feeling good. Our hearts were on the line for
Yeah.
him. So we're happy that our prayers were heard and that he's now a full droid.
Yeah, full droid. Yeah. We have our very own Alito.
Yep. Satan's must be saying,
Hey, motherfucker, you escaped this time.
So, with that being said, should we go into our first segment?
Yeah.
We are Science Fiction Remnant.
This is the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
We are the Caribbean Science Fiction Network.
We are Monorats.
We are One Accord Level 2 Podcast.
This is Jesse from Sudden But Inevitable and Open Pike Night.
This is SciFi.
And if you're new to the show, this is where the part of the show where we feature our hashtag. This is SciFi. And basically the whole idea for the hashtag is to have a place where we have a community, not necessarily siloed community like you find today, where you have, the Star Wars community, you have the Star Trek community, you have the Babylon 5 community, you have Galactica community. We wanted to create one where
Let me
everybody,
put you in the hot spot right now. Galactica, Star Trek, or Star Wars?
all of them,
All
all of them, give
He
it to
didn't choose.
all of them.
You have to make a choice.
It is so hard to make a choice because I love all sci-fi, and that is the reason why we created the hashtag This Is Sci-Fi.
If you don't choose one, you can watch any of them. So you have a choice. Make it.
Star Trek. So, if you are a creator, if you are a fan of any sci-fi IP, you want to go ahead and follow and post on the hashtag This Is Sci-Fi
Yep.
and enjoy not only the conversations, but hear people's sci-fi IP or favorite IP. We've seen, I mean, how many different case scenarios have you seen on that hashtag?
I mean, if I simplify it on better words, it's a gateway for you to go and find people and everything you like about it. When I don't know what to watch, I just go, this is sci-fi. And you can go on Twitter, you can go on Threads, you can go on Instagram
Yes.
and look for people that are posting stories and everything. You can go anywhere. That's the beauty of hashtags. I think that even in TikTok, anywhere, hashtags is so universal that you just go and put hashtag this is sci-fi. And I promise you, if you want to accompany by a favorite IP, there's gonna be so much you're gonna find.
And you can start a conversation. You know, you have that one thing you love, and
Oh.
that's the thing that we love hearing about.
Yeah, and if you're like me, Captain Chaos, you're just gonna go and end conversations.
So, and I have to announce also that we have something new going on right now. We started a new Discord server,
Yes.
and this server is technically meant for creators. So, if you are not necessarily just podcasters, but if you are a writer, a sci-fi writer,
Animator, voiceover, anything.
any sci-fi creator of any kind, movie, whatever it might
Cosplayer.
be, music,
Mhm.
sci-fi,
Yes.
reach out to us.
Film
And-
directors.
Yeah,
Hey.
directors. Reach out to us and we'll send you the link and you can, you know, enjoy the talk. And if you are a fan, not necessarily a creator, remember we have our Discord. The invite link is on the description. We invite you to come over and chat. We have a channel for every IP there is.
Trust me.
And if there's not there, which I doubt, reach out and we'll make it.
Reach out, but please don't ask for another channel. There's too many already. There's too many tabs.
And you know, for all of you out there who get scared by
And I'm
that,
an administrator, so I have to have them, all of them. I mean, I don't have Doctor Who, shame on me. But I mean, yeah, don't. You're gonna like whatever is in there. I promise you. You're not gonna go in there like, oh, they don't have this. No, I don't think so.
well, but if they do, I want people to know.
We're not gonna have Harry Potter and Narnia there. No, it's no sci-fi.
I don't want to scare people, right? So you go as soon as you get invited and you go to the invite link and you go through all the process and join in. There's going to be a channel called Roles, and basically, I like to call that our supermarket, where you pick what sci-fi flavor you like to consume.
So you'll only see the tabs for what you select. Basically.
Exactly.
If you don't want to see Cyberpunk, for example, shame on you for not liking that. But if you don't want to see Cyberpunk, for example, you don't pick it in the roles. So when you're seeing your tabs, it's not going to be there. So you don't have to worry about things that you're not really interested on. But still, there's so many that it's going to be like you filling up the car and not being able to carry it out of the shop.
Yeah, we have. What other things can they benefit from Discord? We have our weekly, not necessarily every week, but we have our occasional watch parties.
Yes, and I mean we have adult section that is
50 Shades of Science Fiction Remnants.
And we even have a, which is not technically, I made it sci-fi. It's not technically sci-fi, a D&D game, but I made it sci-fi.
It's a fun way to spend that together. I mean, it's a D&D fantasy game, but we could make a D&D game on Cyberpunk. That's the beauty of D&D. You can have D&D in any universe.
But who, you know, and I'm assuming Lori is listening to this episode. What did Lori get in the last game?
A lot.
Lightsaber.
A lightsaber. That's true. I got a stick that's thin, so I can go pole dancing in the caves. Woo! Sexy elf.
So,
And the funny thing is that my first game, because I don't know much of D&D,
Mhm.
I did the whole first game with my elf naked.
That was so funny. That is epic.
I was like, oh, I didn't have my clothes equipped. Nice.
So,
Dong, dong, dong.
yeah. So if you are, if you're looking for a game, we still have spots available. Just reach out. We are actually doing the games every Saturday,
On our
3
server.
p.m. Eastern time, is in on our server. So make sure that if you are interested, make sure you go in and create your character first. Character has to be level 0 or 1, whatever the lowest possible
I'm
is.
more than happy to help anybody that joins creating avatars and things have become very good at it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty good.
And I can even help people to make backstories.
Yes, great backstories.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's if you're interested, just reach out, and that's all happening in our Discord. So you see all the stuff you're missing.
And I mean, it's funny because we join a call. Most of us just join video, Robert and I and some other friends. If you're camera shy, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't
But
have
shame on you for not thinking that you're beautiful.
to. Yeah, definitely. So, Captain Chaos, should I just press it?
Shout out. Shout out.
I can't. I tried. I always tried. Sorry.
You can't crazy the crazy, bro. Can you? Well, I want to remember everybody. We first of all, we're part of the Blind Knowledge Network, and they have a great variety of content creators. So go and check them out if you like gaming, if you like adult content, if you like podcasting, anime. There's something for everybody. Go and check them out. They're a great network. I'm sure that you're gonna find something you like there. And like Joey likes to say from the Blind Knowledge, what's cool? Podcast. What's not cool? Not podcast. And moving on to our mentions, actually, I wanted to make a shout out to a dear podcast friend of ours, Open Pike Night.
Yes.
Always engaging with good conversations, and we are always also having great conversations with them about their show too.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, go pause and check them out.
Yes.
They're fun as hell. If you're a Trekkie, that's your place to be.
Well,
Man.
I always say, if you are a Trek lover, especially if you love Strange New Worlds, you are doing yourself a disservice by not listening to Open Pike.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And he made me watch it yesterday. It's not bad.
It's really good. It's an awesome show.
I mean, a non-Trekkie telling you that it's good. Am I a non-Trekkie?
Well, we're working on it.
All right. I might be a lower decky.
Yeah, everybody's a lower decky. I think, to be honest with you, lower deck is responsible to converting my wife into a Trekkie.
We'll have to terminate them. Second, actually, I wanted to give a shout out to a dear friend of ours, Ian. And I mean, we hope to see you again, man. Let us know how you're doing. His podcast is
Called Connections.
Called Connections, right?
Great podcast. If you like those, the movie, the connections between movies, it's really, really great. If you haven't listened to it, again, I suggest you pause us right now, go check him out, call Connections, and then come back and let us know what you think. I really enjoyed the show. He has a very pleasant voice.
Yeah, he's a personality, man.
We had him on our show, and unfortunately, just like anything else, the issue that we're having is time zones.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to get him back, but it's insane when it's like 1 o'clock at midnight, when it's like, it's time zones is a horrible thing for us.
It's all right when you're an insomniac like me. Like,
yeah,
he'll be like, hey, I cannot sleep. Like, oh, okay, dude, what's up? Next one, actually, Joe Dove, StarTrek, Las Vegas, and his hashtag is Joe Pumbo.
Yeah.
And last but not least, love those guys, the Jacked Up Reviews Show podcast. Yes. And you can find them. Go and check them out. Actually, they are so freaking fun and good. It's at Jacked Up Reviews. Review without S.
Yeah.
And that's all for our shout outs. Our
shout outs.
And if you don't remember this, or if you're new to our show, we do have a hotline. You can call us at 1-305-563-6334 and leave us a message. You can leave a message for me. Go ahead and leave a message for Ray, and tell them that you can't wait to have him on our show. We definitely miss him.
Yeah.
You can leave a message about any particular shows that you have listened in the past, any comments you have, any shows that you'd like us to do in the future, or you can leave any hate mails for Captain
Yeah.
Chaos.
And if you have any message you want to just the world to hear, you can also send us a message and we'll play it on our next episode.
Definitely, and we will have a conversation about your message. So call.
And depending on who you are, I'll make sure that you feel ashamed.
Okay, so I think we're ready for this show.
All right.
I think so. I notice we're never ready, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, with the long conversation that we have in the back and forth, just now preparing.
We saw this.
It was a conversation that he's like, I get your point, but no. And then he explained to me like, I get your point, but no.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from, but you guys will enjoy this coming forward. We'll definitely touch on those topics. But then again, this anime that we're covering today was brought up to us by our
Ray
very own mad scientist Ray. It is called The Gene of AI. And we are only going to cover the first episode 1, which is called Backup. This is one of those animes.
Back it up, baby. Back it up.
Backup. If you are not a anime fan, which I know a lot of you are not, this is one that I'm really curious.
I failed to know why.
uh,
No, anime is not for kids.
No. Don't look for Oriosoki Doji, the Legend of the Overfiend.
Yeah.
Don't stop now. No.
Dick tornadoes. Pussy tornadoes.
Oh God. Okay, so going back to topic.
Make it rain. Make it rain.
This anime, it was really, really interesting because it basically touches the subject of what happens to humanity in the future of AI. And this, and I don't know if you agree with me, this is one of the perfect examples as to why I say, and if you have listened to the show long enough, you probably have heard me talk about how the sci-fi as in general is a thought experiment where we have particular topics, particular scenarios that we are actually thinking about, and we're wondering, how would that play into society? How would that play into humanity? How much would that one thing changes? One of the topics that we bring up a lot is our episode on Gattaca. If you haven't listened to our episode Gattaca, I recommend you download it and listen to it. But this is what I love about sci-fi, is the fact that we take those issues, those topics, those technologies, and do a thought experiment on that and see how they would affect technology and society. And this one over here brings it home because it is one of those, sci-fi thought experiments that talk about what would be the changes, what would be the benefit, what would be the detriment, what would be the changes in society, humanity that come about from the future with AI.
And how society is going to evolve to something new. Because it's like what you were saying earlier. We're not going to be humans anymore by that point.
Well, that is, and that brings me to a really...
And I'll give you an observation I just realized now by saying this. That the behavior of everybody didn't show that we really evolved socially.
Yes.
Surprisingly enough. Which I would think that with us becoming something else, socially we would too become something else. But it didn't seem so though.
But
it seemed more like machines, humanoids were very, very human. Very human.
But before we go there, do we have a plot? Do we?
Yeah, we should.
What is a plot?
Ray, I'm sorry, man. You're not here, so we're just going to skip it. Just to make you not sleep at night thinking about it.
Well, then again, I mean...
We didn't do the plot, Ray. Go to sleep now knowing this. And every time that you don't come to the show, there won't be a plot.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, this show. I mean, how many times have we started the plot and pause it, and then started and
I went
pause
down
it?
the show, and then Ray's like, the plot!
So yeah, this is normal for us. Oh,
Now, since you're an avid reader, I would give you the task, though. But do we put a plot actually, or do we miss it purposely? Yeah, no, we have a plot. You want me to read it?
we have the plot.
You
Yeah,
want me
go
to,
ahead.
you want me to read it in character or normal? Normal. Yeah, I'll do normal. I want to be a clown. Well, so it says here the future is here, and a new species live amongst people humanoids. These robotic beings are highly sentient, like a man, and suffer from unique ailments. Thankfully, Dr. Hikaru Sudô can help. He vows to treat the humanoids even by the means that may be considered illegal, causing him to lead a double life. But when strange disease emerge due to the coexistence, ethical lines becomes blurred.
Yes.
Tum, tum, tum.
Yes. So to give you an overview, in this universe, we already has gone past singularity.
Way
So
past.
so AI has come and gone. It has become sentient. And again, this is not being expressed or shown in this, well, not yet in this show.
But they've shown that AI has equal human rights as human.
But that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is we have gone, and we'll go back to that because I want to talk. That's one of the things that I want to talk about. I'm dying to talk about. I'm just kind of giving them a little sense of where we're coming from in this episode. I mean, this show. So AI has gone past singularity. It has gone past being self-aware to the point where it is indistinguishable from humans, which is actually still far into our future, right? And it not only that, but it has gone past moving on to bodies, which I imagine towards the beginning of this universe has been mechanical bodies. And now in this show, we are at the point where this is another topic that I got to talk about: the fact that these bodies that are created are indistinguishable from human bodies.
Yep.
Obviously, when they open it up, you see the equipment in there, but these bodies are able to feel,
And
not
wait till you
sense.
see the scenes where they open them up.
Yeah, they're not sensing; they're feeling.
Yeah.
The touch, hot, cold. They have emotions.
Way too many. More than humans. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
yeah.
so basically, when you look at these, the only, aside from opening their head up, right, which is the obvious thing, you would see the metals and the lights and all this stuff. It reminds me a little bit of Data from Star Trek.
It actually reminds me more of Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, Ghost in the Shell.
General, what's her name?
Major
Kusanagi, right?
Mhm.
When Major Kusanagi plucks herself in the back of the head, or like Lucy from Cyberpunk 2.
Yes.
How she has a direct portal.
Mhm.
It's kind of like that. How androids can work themselves around. It was funny the quote that we picked because it made me question, and we don't really see much about it. They eat, so would they get any other bodily illnesses like humans though? Because the customer did, and the quote says, "So you don't have to worry with having illness," and he respond, "If we get it in the head, we're just screwed."
Yeah, and that's that. I was getting to that because I mean, there's so many topics. I mean, this. How long do we last watching this one episode that is 20 minutes long?
Maybe like an hour or so.
We're pausing all the time because we're talking. I mean, it just, and this is what I'm so curious. If you guys, I know you guys might not like anime. Just watch that one episode. It's only 20 minutes long, and then come back to us and let us know what you think.
Or if you don't like anime, just watch Orizuku Doji.
Don't. Please don't. So where I was going with this is the fact that they are indistinguishable from humans. And the only difference, the only way, which actually it was great of the creators of the show, is looking at their eyes. So human eyes are normal. So you have the normal iris is circular. But when you look at humanoids, which this is how they're called, the AI that are taking bodies, their eyes, their pupils are, and you have a perfect example. How do they look like?
Like goat eyes, or like Naruto when he's in Sage mode.
It's
They're
like
like genio.
sideways.
They're like a little oval, long oval inside, sideways,
Yeah.
horizontally.
Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. And why I said the creators of the show made it great. The first time that I watched this, I didn't really pay attention, but they made a point of showing their eyes every single time, so you know which one is a human and which one is a humanoid.
They capitalize from that.
Yes, and it's not. What's the word that I'm looking for? It's not gratuitous. It's there's a point every time they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it plays on to either the scene that you're watching or the conversation that is going on.
It's like an elephant in the room, because even though the show is about humanoids having equal rights than humans, you cannot escape the reality that they are separated constantly. They are not treated equally unless you're in a group setting where it's two humanoids parents and a human child,
Yeah.
which I think it was brilliant, because that's a great social issue that we currently experience. Imagine the possibilities of having humanoids that can make better the life of so many children.
Yeah. So there's so many, and you know,
There's so many lives that can be saved that way too.
there's a lot of kids in today's society that are actually in orphanage.
And they don't get adopted just for being older,
Yeah.
which is sad.
Mhm.
You know?
So this is one of the positive things that I like about the show is the fact that everyone gets a parent.
Mhm.
Because, and I'm assuming, and let me know if you agree with the point that I'm about to make, is the humanoids. I like to think that they are not able to. I mean, they can create life, but I think one of the reasons, and I might be wrong, there's only one episode that we watched. We haven't watched the other ones to know any better. And I know that the humanoids are created,
Mhm.
but I have a feeling they can't make offspring
You're
like
right.
humans do.
That's correct.
So they have to go to orphanages to actually raise a child
Yeah.
or have a kid or have a son, have a daughter. Because it doesn't seem to me that age is a factor.
No, you're correct. They cannot reproduce. They actually really they reveal that fact on the second episode.
Mhm.
But they are not able to, like, they present other characters that like they like the attention of men and they're female,
Mhm.
and they express like, I know that I cannot reproduce, but my looks anyways calls them on to their primal instincts. They're very scientific about our humanity, which is very very uh interesting to me,
Yeah.
because it actually, when I look at it, I am able to continue to observe and watch it from a philosophical standpoint, because this show touched so many ethical and philosophical ideas that are mind-boggling,
Yes.
and they just play it out in there for you to just put your brain in a fork and just spaghetti the shit out of
And
it.
this is exactly the reason why I said you guys just watch that one episode. It's not going to take your life. It's only 20 minutes because we are curious to hear your thoughts. I mean, you can reach out to us Twitter, Threads, Instagram, on our Discord, and let's have a conversation about this. This one single episode, which actually doesn't even cover the full story,
No.
because we only seen only one, and there's a lot more, a lot that needs to be revealed on other episodes. But this one episode is full packed with all kinds of dilemmas that you have ever thought about the rising of AI. And this is a thought experiment of what would be our future with AI. Um,
Oh boy, when you look at this, you're gonna be like, "Oh, Elon Musk had it so wrong, boy."
so one of the things that you were talking about is the fact that the AI or humanoids, um, they can't. If something goes wrong, um, obviously an arm, a leg. They can just have that replaced.
So it's totally fine that it costs you an arm and a leg, but
I'm
he
as
cannot copy
well.
or back up.
I was gonna get there.
Yeah, but I wanted to ruin it for you, man. Steal your thunder.
So what I was going to say is the fact that I like to assume that in this future, and you let me know if you agree with this or not, that would be the same case for humans.
Yeah.
If we have gotten to the point where we can create a limb or a body for a humanoid that can sense, that can feel not only emotions, but it can feel touch. It can all that stuff like just like indistinguishable from humans. I find it very hard to believe that if a human loses an arm, they can't just get another arm that works just like the one they had.
I agree. I mean, ideally, under that pretense, then humanoids and humans will be somewhat biologically compatible.
Exactly.
Still, you know that current technology is working on recreating and farming organs from bacteria.
Mhm.
So we are moving forward on that aspect. But I would think in this universe of the gene AI, if I lose my arm and I get another one, even though it looks human, it might be biotechnology.
Well,
It won't be a flesh and blood, fully biological prosthesis.
it's a good thing that you mentioned that because we want to clarify this for the audience. They are indistinguishable, and that's
Yes,
just
totally.
it. But it is still a machine.
They can cry, they eat. They don't show it, but they probably go and take shit and piss. They have
Well,
to
it
sleep.
makes sense.
They have to sleep. They go to school and learn like they are not superiors to human. They have some kind of limiters that don't allow them to process their growth differently than humans. So they have to go and learn. They have to train to get better at physical tasks and everything, just like a human, which was very interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to the limbs, right? They are basically machines.
Hmm.
The limbs are machines. You can still feel, but is and that's another topic that I was going to discuss is the fact that and I love this topic, and we always talk about it. And every time I get a chance on our show, is the bio machines, and I love to see a sci-fi IP that deals because this is basically what we're seeing. It's a bio machine. The skin is it's still made. It's not real skin. It's a biological machine
Hmm.
that they created.
But it's the most plausible reality when you think about it. Because right now, well, our reality is an amputee has a fully bionic
Mhm.
robotic part, be it an arm, a leg, two arms. But here it's so integrated that it would not make a difference for your original arm to that unless you have a marking or something that even that you can reproduce
Yeah.
on a prosthesis of that kind. You know?
So going back to my original thought, in that sense, humanoids and humans were basically the same. Where if there's something, and this is going back to the conversation based on the quote that we started the show on, where the customer is talking to the chef of this ramen shop,
Yeah.
and where he's basically saying, because it's in this world, about 10% of the population of the world is humanoid. So they're talking about, how they it looks to me like in this where we get the show started, they just got rights, humanoid rights, because you could see obviously, you see them working. So if
Mhm.
they and there was no rights, their working conditions would have been a complete difference. And I'm assuming this is what happened at the beginning of this world, and that was the reason why they have to come up with these laws because they were abusing the
Yes.
humanoids because they had no rights.
Yes. And you can see the separation between humanoids and machines. For example, like the scene where he's at the prison visiting his mom.
Mhm,
There was a robot that was actually attending to him, telling him like your time is up and everything.
mhm.
That was more machine. That was not. That didn't look much as an AI sentient being.
Yeah.
It looked more like a tool AI machine.
Yes.
So there's still that separation of that singularity and machines still being a tool, which is a whole separation. That consciousness.
Yes. And And again, I mean, there's so much to unpack. I have so much stuff. I'm going step by step, and this is why you see how Captain Chaos will jump over, because you can't help it, dude. This is packed.
I love just interrupting him.
No, but I mean, even if you watch it, I want to hear your thoughts. It is packed. Some of these dilemmas. Going back to the conversation, what he was saying, you don't. I guess you don't have to worry about dropping dead. They suffer illnesses, apparently slightly different than humans, right? But if those illnesses, let's say not necessarily illnesses, let's assume that it's actually just they're having an issue with um maybe they had an accident, right? And they lost an arm, they lost an egg. Those things are
Or maybe
the
it just
same
cost
for
you an arm and a leg.
and it just would be just like humans, right? um However, with humans it's slightly different because we do have organs. I'm not sure that this has been expressed in the show yet. I'm assuming that the humanoids don't have any organs, or they would have something similar to organs, because they're able to eat and
Cry.
and transform that food that they're eating into energy that they can consume, their body can use. So it would be similar to humans, very similar, because they actually not only necessarily just eating, they can taste.
Yeah.
Because we get to see this from the chef on the very beginning of this episode, when he's actually tasting the food that he's serving a human, and that is mind blowing.
I just had a perfect prank for the humanoids, man. The master of the scientists that created it was like,
We're gonna make their taste buds so everything is gonna taste like chicken, and they're gonna feel like everything is chicken, and they're gonna be on constant war with humans.
Help me. I wasn't kidding when I said Captain Chaos got to my house. Please help me.
stop fucking up.
So going back to that conversation, there's one thing that basically at the end of that quote and the end of the conversation is like where he says, well, we bite it as hard as if something goes up, if something is wrong in our heads. So if
I think that they are in more precarious danger than us when it comes to saving them, because when they have an issue, it's more terminal than ours.
if it's something to do with their head, where their main AI, the main processing system, it could be anything, right? They're basically as good as dead.
Yep.
That person, that humanoid is, it actually ceases to exist, and it's the closest thing to mortality than a machine could feel.
Yep.
And we can see it and we can feel it on this show. And it's really interesting to me because we have neurological issues on humans, but it doesn't really, well, it depending on what that issue is, it might cost you your life. But we have things like dementia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you don't really suffer a term. Well, you don't die from it, right?
No.
Um,
But funnily enough that you mentioned that, there is another IP that covers this with androids that makes a lot of sense. Detroit Become Human.
oh yes,
When they become, what do they call it? Like they call it a Blade Runner,
replicants.
replicants. When a replicant becomes a rogue, they depict symptoms of dementia, for
Mhm.
example. So they haven't touched that on the anime so far. But I've been wondering about that, to be honest.
Well, we only seen one, and I want to make that clear. We only seen one episode, and this is all we're talking about. So I'm assuming there's a lot of questions that we'll answer eventually. I mean, I think there's only like 4 episodes
Yeah.
now, so it's not even fully out. It's a current anime, so it's coming out. I believe it's a weekly.
Yeah, because I checked it last week and there was 3 episodes, so it's coming weekly.
It's coming weekly. So this episode called Backup is basically based on the fact that whenever there's a
What is the episode called?
backup, So whenever something happens to a humanoid, um, the only solution, if it is something to do with their head, it's to do a backup of what that person is. It's copying their personality, is copying, in essence, is copying their soul, if you can call that a soul on a humanoid. However, apparently, in the past on this IP, they actually copied the a humanoid brain.
Alter carbon. Same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Same thing. You cannot clone yourself. It's illegal. Alter carbon is the perfect comparison to that, right?
yeah, yeah. It is illegal there too. However, the reasons are slightly different. On here, well, close enough, because it's all to do with what illegal thing can you do with a copy. It's always that makes the rules. But in this IP, there was a humanoid that was copied, and they were using that copy to commit crimes. So you could see there was like a flashback where they called them the crying men,
The
because
crying man.
actually this humanoid got killed. They copied the brain, and they're doing so every time they actually were able to catch these people committing the crimes, whatever that crime might be. There's always an image, or a video of this humanoid crying, because it's all coming from the same. So there was a consensus worldwide, where the leaders got together and they banned backup copies of humanoids. So that is the reason why we are into this episode. So we're looking at this family, which is a very typical family on this world, where in this universe, where there's the dad and the mom are humanoids, and obviously we talked about how they can't conceive, they can't have any children, but they have a human child, that and this is their family. Um, so the mother was having some issues, and the dad did a backup copy, which is completely illegal, of the wife, because the idea was to
That he wanted to have two wives. I'm just kidding.
she wanted to make a copy to restore her back to, because this particular issue that she was having was what we typically would call neurological.
Yeah.
And it's seen.
Well, they copy their neural net, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you see in this scene, and it's very clear because she's trying to make tea, and her hands are shaking.
Yeah, she got Parkinson's.
So, this is actually very interesting to me, because what happens with anything that is illegal? You have to go to the black market. So, he did a copy himself with software that he found in the black market. So it's the equivalent to back in the day, when you were able to download music or download movies from the internet.
Napster,
Exactly. Back in the day,
Kazaa, LimeWire.
what happened on those scenarios?
Oh, you got
How
a bunch
many
of porn and virus.
how many viruses you got into your machine from those things? So this is exactly, and this is why I said it's really interesting to me, because we see this in this show, where he's like, okay, this is illegal. I don't want to lose my wife. I gotta find out a way. He goes online on the black market. He finds a software, and he makes a copy. So when he installs, uh, I guess something did happen.
When he connects her to back it up, the device that he used to connect her was what brought the virus on.
So you have a virus installed.
It's like me doing a medical procedure on you, but because I'm a dumbass and I am not professional, I use dirty instruments and
Exactly.
catch you infected instead of helping you.
So he has a clean backup copy.
But he fucked her up in the
Exactly.
in the process.
So
he messed her up.
this is the episode. So now our doctor gets called, He is famous for doing illegal um, procedures on humanoids.
He's like the Mother Teresa of the black market.
Yeah, and we can tell right off the bat that it's not. He's definitely not malicious, although he could be mean at times. But don't you agree? I mean, he basically was upset not because they were humanoids, but because he was such a dumbass
Yeah.
and messed up his wife. The virus was called sloth.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is the wife has about a week before a complete
Wipe out.
shutdown. Basically, the shutdown comes from a gradual loss of information.
Yeah, it's a detrimental process where it basically starts destroying all the data in the brain until it becomes an empty shell.
So basically, it's a perfect name for that virus, sloth, because that's one of the capital sins where you don't want to do anything, you're just lazy, and eventually just die for not doing anything. So that's basically what we see this woman gradually go into, where there's a moment where she stops walking, there's a moment, and then eventually she stops breathing, and that's when her eye closes and she's gone.
That's a whole nother level of the laziness. She just
Exactly.
don't want to breathe anymore.
So that's why he was pissed.
Would you say that she died of asphyxiation or of laziness?
So in that scene where he's actually, not necessarily fighting with the husband, I kind of have to agree with that and his action in that particular scene. Because, I mean, he was available. I mean, he's calling him now. Why couldn't he call him prior?
Because I was scared.
He obviously knew that he does illegal stuff. I don't think that he would deny a backup, although it is illegal, because that's what he does.
Yeah, he would have.
So,
And if you think about it, I think that he was using a loophole to be able to still treat them, because his excuse when the assistant told him not to was, I still have not identified the tool they used to make the backup from the black market. So that was the premise for him to allow himself to excuse that he would still treat them, even though it was illegal.
no.
Is that he wanted to catch the device or where they got them from so they could fight the illegality of it. So it's like they're getting off the hook because they're giving information that can help the authorities fix this issue of the black market by chasing down or jotting down whoever is behind this.
Yeah. And I know he does have a second or alternate motive, um, because in the show, how it starts, and we kind of completely skipped over this. As a kid, he was having, I think he the one having the issue. So they came to his house, and his mother is a humanoid, which is the typical thing in this IP. Very very common to see families where the kid is the human, and they offer assistance if they can they can do a backup of her consciousness to make sure that, and then they'll pay whatever medication, whatever treatment is necessary for the kid,
Yeah.
which is this in this
Hikaru.
Hikaru, which is the doctor right now, all grown up. So what happens is, I don't know exactly. It wasn't detailed. It wasn't explained. I'm sure that we're gonna get more details as the show goes along, but the authorities discovered that there was a copy made, and she ended up in jail because, again, it's illegal to make copies of a humanoid consciousness. Not sure what happened to this company. I'm assuming this company just kind of like went, on ghosted everyone. And the reason why I said this is because the ulterior motive that he has is because he's searching for this company. In essence, the question that the woman says, that mother, the human mother that he has when he went to see it in the prison was, "Are you still looking for me?" And I remember I was asking, it's like, what the heck did that mean? Are you still looking for me?
Hello.
And it's
It's me you're looking for.
she's right in front of him. And then it hit me. It's not looking for her. She's looking for her backup that disappeared.
Yep.
So at the end of this episode,
Which is funny. That backup could have been destroyed.
yeah. Well, it's
So it's like you're looking for a needle in a haystack, really.
I find it hard to believe that it might have been destroyed because of the fact that it's illegal. The copies of humanoids will have a real high value.
Yes, but what will make her so special over any other android or humanoid that they could have just done the same, you know?
That is one thing we don't know yet.
So that's a question that poses why her copy will be that important. So maybe that's why I still think that he's still looking for a needle in a haystack. Is because I mean the company, we don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
So with the company gone, where are you gonna find that? Because
Yeah.
it's more difficult, and it doesn't seem to like Dr. Hikaru has like governmental access to
No, he
track down
doesn't.
anybody.
He
So
has a contact, which we don't see their face. It
I
appears to
know,
be
yeah.
appears to be a woman.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of questions out there
Oh,
that
you like that one.
I can't wait to discover.
You haven't watched the second episode, but
Nope, not yet.
she's
He
the
watched the second
best.
episode, so yeah, he's cheating.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm just unruly. I'm a strong and independent man.
So, I mean, this is the kind of conversations that we have when we're watching the show, and this is a 20-minute show. If
Mhm.
you don't count the entry music and the end of the show, um, and it's totally amazing to me that an anime could be this deep and it could touch topics that are valid today.
Yep. And that poses questions for the tomorrow. I was mentioning that reasons like when they can't like make illegal copying humanoid
Mhm.
when genetical modifications became available. You had the CRISPR people. People were going nuts just injecting themselves genetical modifications and modifying themselves. And you wouldn't see much different outside, but they were genetically different than a normal human because they injected a new genome in them. And then CRISPR people became illegal too. So now you cannot modify a baby, and I think that you can still not go anywhere and just inject yourself a new genome to change yourself genetically. It's not legal, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
And I think that has a lot to do with when the movie Gattaca came out.
Yes. But it's interesting to look at, and I mean, you can find documentaries of these on YouTube, and it's interesting to see these people being interviewed and then telling you their experiences about this gene that they put in themselves that does this little thing that they were interested on, that makes them immune to flu, to any kind of flu, or something like that, you know? But
Yeah.
it's people modifying themselves genetically at a micro level, but still, they are something else already by doing that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see kind of the same thing playing out. I know that in the case of the AI genome, the gene AI, it's different. There's a lot of other ethical questions, like the issue that you just mentioned that we're using it for criminal activities. Also, there's the other question: how many times can you get copied before your copy becomes corrupted? Because anything you copy from a copy or even from an original, eventually is not gonna be the same as the original.
Well, I'm going to pose this question to you. What about if those copies are always made from the original and never from the copy?
What happens if that original loses? It gets lost or something for X or Y, and you just have the copy of the original.
Well, that brings us back to your question. But I'm saying, what if we have a copy of the original until that original no longer can function?
That would be just
I think that's what happened, and why that law started. Because eventually they killed this humanoid. They made multiple copies because the copies are dependent on the time on the time in this humanoid's timeline that is copied. So in order for it to be viable, at least I'm thinking, and you can correct me if you think otherwise, is if they can make multiple copies at the same time, so they can catch that moment in time on that humanity of this humanoid instead of trying to copy someone like a month after where would there would be a difference in personality because that first copy you did was a month earlier, and he has already gained experience in a month. So that copies would be different. In essence, you're copying a different person.
Bro, if I could copy myself, you know how much fool of myself I will make by knowing this. I know what this motherfucker is thinking. Let me just trick this sad ass.
Well, it would be even sadder if your copy would actually outsmart you.
That'll be actually interesting. I'll be like, shit, I'm the best in the past. I know I can never suppress myself. I still feel boosted by being tricked by my own copy because it's still me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
greatness. No matter how you put it,
it's still you. It's still you. So this anime was brought to our attention by our resident mad scientist
Ray Pike.
Ray Pie. And I guess he doesn't disappoint whenever he has something. He came up with Steins Gate, which we did an episode on.
Yep.
Which is another mind-bending. If you haven't not downloaded that episode, I suggest you download it. Just watch the first episode of the Steins Gate, the anime, and then watch our show.
Oh man, yeah, that show, bro. If you want to have great mind sex, if you want to be mentally banged, watch that.
Yes, the first time that I
Oh
watched it,
my
I was
God,
just like,
bro.
"What?" I had to watch it a couple of
This
times.
is the anime you had to watch at least twice
Yes.
to understand it. The first one is just to give you like a what, and then the second one is like, oh.
So yeah, anime is not necessarily for kids.
It is not for kids.
Yeah.
I have not seen many animes that are actually for kids.
Dragon
See?
Ball.
There you go. But you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. The single fact that you're thinking tells me
Avatar.
anime is not for kids.
Avatar.
Avatar is not anime. Avatar is a cartoon. And there's no live action movie on it. And Korra is shit.
Naruto.
Boruto. Yeah, but that's exceptions.
Yeah, there's always exceptions
Boruto's
in everything.
shit too. Boruto's shit too.
Yeah, I do have. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't go that far. I just don't like it.
But Boruto got overshadowed by Naruto. Like, they shouldn't have done it. It's like I don't know. Man. It's like Naruto would have been great if you stopped that and that's it.
But you could do that choice.
Yeah,
you could do the
which
choice.
I did. I never watched Boruto. I know it exists for some disgrace, but
okay. So we were basically a week old when we watched this.
Yeah.
So we can't really answer that first question that I always have, which is, how old were you and what was your first impression? My first impression was like, wow, this brings it home. Too close for comfort. Because we are now dealing with what happens with AI.
And here's the funny thing. Robert and I were having this conversation, and basically we differ on his prediction on when this kind of technology will be available and when I think it will. Because he says that we're how many years far from having human looking like completely robots walking around with equal human rights?
Let me give context, right? So you understand what the conversation, like why my answer was, and then you can give your points of view. And please reach out because we want to hear from you. Watch the show. It's 22 minutes. And then let us know what you think.
If you don't reach out, I'm going to reach from underneath your bed and pull your feet at night. And when you turn on the light, I won't be there. And when you turn it back on, I'll be pulling your pinkies and your toes. And licking your hands when you're trying to block your phone.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That kind of voice changer gets me into a whole different alter ego. You know what?
So here's where I base myself in. There's a lot of things that are unpacked in this first episode. Okay. The first is the science that allowed the the humanoid bodies to be created. That is something really, really far into the future, based on if I do a comparison to how science is today. So if someone loses an arm, a limb, any limb, Right
An arm
now,
and a leg.
they can get a replacement, and it allows them to walk again. It allows them to. They're really good. Today's. I mean, if you go 10 years in the past, you could see a big increase in scientific discovery and how the artificial limbs today differ so greatly from the artificial limbs from 10 years ago. So now jumping into this IP, we see how these humanoid bodies are able to feel. So this is a great discovery for science and a great things that could happen to now today's people today that might have an accident, they lost a limb, where they can just get an arm that they can feel again, which is amazing. But again, we're talking about this. We are sci-fi fans. We've seen this from IP to IP, how it's normalized. And it becomes something that it is possible, it's scientifically possible within that context, within that IP, within that universe.
Yeah.
But now you bring it to reality and you compare to actual scientific discovery today. And we are very far from that. Very, very far from that. So that's that one thing that I pile on top of the fact that we have the AI to that point. And not only that, this is individual AIs that are growing on their own. You can kind of do something like that today because you're able to download the base code for ChatGPT on your computer and you can train it yourself. And in essence, you'll be creating a complete separate entity. However, that AI, ChatGPT, is not at the point where the AI that we see in this.
It wouldn't pass the
universe.
Turing test.
Exactly. So combine that to the scientific advancements of the body and how they create limbs and how they create bodies.
Mhm.
Add to the fact that you have the ability for them, or they finally figure out how they can convert food into energy for these bodies. And there's so many, and I'm only going to touch on those three. Those three technologies. They're so far from us at this point. And this is where the conversation came in as to why I think around 1,000 years. And you said?
I said 100, 150 max.
I understand your point.
But my reasoning, and I'll share with you guys
Go ahead.
too, which I share with Robert, is the way I see it is that AI is exponentially getting
Yes.
better at self machine learning.
Mhm.
So taking that into account, if self machine learning is exponentially becoming faster, the learning process and the advancements that it creates would also be affected by that. So it's a non-stop, continuous increasing slope of
Yeah.
advancement and performance. And then when it got compared, for example, like I was watching this documentary with Elon Musk about singularity and how the only way for us to go forward and succeed is to join forces with AI when it reaches singularity. He compared that human on its own to help cure all the disease we have today, which are over 2,000, I think 500, I think it's going to be over 2,000 years for us on our own to get there with the current technology. But with AI joining forces, it will be a matter of 100, 150 years for us to be able to cure virtually almost every sickness, which doesn't still even determine that there's going to be a lot more new disease
Yes.
that going to be new to us by then. Because that's the part of being an ever changing species on an ever changing world with its conditions as well. The earth is never going to be the same that yesterday or a millennia back or so.
Yeah.
It's continuously living. I mean, the earth itself is a living organism on its own.
And going back to like my point of view, which by the way, I want to hear from you guys and see, which of the two point of views do you agree on? going back to
I'm right. He's wrong. I'm right.
going back to my point of view, the reason we were having a conversation based on the fact that if it takes that long to get to that point, um, it's very interesting to me because we evolve as humans. We evolve. It
Not
ta-
as Pokemons, as humans.
so, in essence, 1,000 years is long enough for us to see a change in humanity, not only physical but also mentally. Because we back again, we evolved. So I had that question is like by the time we have AI able to finally be human, humans will no longer be humans.
That's correct. I agree with that. I think that, I mean, we already, I think, are becoming something else with the changes. Imagine when changes are more dramatic on our biology.
Yeah, and again, we always talked about this, how we are who we are today because of our past experiences and our surroundings. The same goes for the body. We evolved with all the experiences our bodies have to go through.
And not only evolve, I think that it's more a matter of it's in our primal nature to, as a species, adapt to
Yes.
change, because that's the core meaning of life is change. So in order for us to survive this long, it's because we're very good. We're not good at being apex predator and going and fighting a bear. We're good because we are able to adapt and use our mind so we can fight that bear with tools and with our mind using techniques and other things that that creature doesn't have the capacity to do.
Yeah.
So that same way, when life keeps on changing, if it's going to represent something that is going to make our life harder, eventually, by nature, we're going to end up adapting because
Yeah.
it's in nature to preserve ourselves over anything else.
Yeah. I agree 100% with that. And I mean, don't you find this fascinating? We are, uh, if you watch this show long enough, you know that anything we watch together, we make it. It just takes longer because we're always pausing. And I mean, look at our episode that we did on FTL. How long was that episode?
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
that episode that we did on Brolga.
Oh,
How
yeah.
long was that episode? And all the other little episodes we have done about those productions. How long were the episodes?
And Robert says that he's addicted to dust.
Who wouldn't be? There's so much sci-fi
Oh
content
my
on
God,
the
yeah.
bite size.
And I mean, everybody, I mean, we're not officially sponsoring them or
No.
anything, but we love them so much.
Thus, if you're listening to this, we'll love to have you on the show.
Please. And I mean, I want to let everybody know I just discovered and I shared with Robert, and I want to share with all of you guys that I was watching Tubi TV, which
Yes.
we don't sponsor you neither. I should actually beep that shit. But I actually found out that they have compilations and a whole collection of full length movies in Tubi TV for Dust.
Nice.
So if you like Dust and you were wanting more than just short films of 30 minutes, go to Tubi. Just type Dust and go nuts.
Yes.
So much, man.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh yes. So yeah, this anime is it's incredible to me, and I don't find animes. I think if I think back recently, the only two that comes to mind right now would be this one that we're talking about and Steins Gate.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been others that are like really mentally challenged to watch because there's a lot of content.
But it
there's
was
a-
a different kind of impact that it created on us.
these two shows, because right now I can say there's only two, and I'm thinking to see if there's any more, but there's only two that has caused this impact on how deep they make me think.
Mhm.
And I think this one more than Steins Gate, because Steins Gate is more
Cerebral.
let me
A lot more cerebral.
let me call it this way. It's more sci-fi because the technology there
It's-
it's purely it's purely sci-fi. And I'm not
It's-
saying that this is not sci-fi that we're talking about.
But it's less scientifically proven or plausible.
The thing is, it brings it home. It
Mhm.
brings it too close for comfort because we're seeing what would happen to us with the emergence of AI that we
Mhm.
see today.
And I think that's the difference is also Stein Gates plays more on sci-fi multiple realities
Mhm.
issues. This anime is completely touching on philosophical and psychological socio-economic issues,
Yes.
socio-political issues.
Oh,
That's the right
yes.
word, socio-political issues. So it's a lot more, it's a whole different note when you think about like what's being talked about here and what's being talked about in Stein Gates. Stein Gates is a whole different animal. Not to me, it has nothing to do. I can completely separate Stein Gates from the Gene AI because the Gene AI is a lot. It makes you relate more because you're seeing like the little things of the day to day on a household.
Yes.
In Stein Gates, you don't even have that sense of a household to think about it. And it digs more onto each person and then the multiple realities that they are affecting constantly. So it's a whole different trip
Yeah.
from Stein Gates on that aspect. Then the Stein Gates goes more to the scientifical side because it plays more with multiple realities and changing timelines. This is a lot more psychological and philosophical.
And that is a good segue to the topic that I wanted to talk about next. And it's a heated conversation that we were having when watching this show. So going back to the story, the woman is now uh, damaged because she got a virus while trying to make a backup copy. The backup copy is safe, but she has a week. Basically, she has a week to leave, where eventually she will just stop moving and just shut down. Um, so the solution is to wipe her brain clean and install the backup, kind of like what you do today on a computer.
Imagine if you cheat on your wife and you get to do that. Oh heavens. Nice.
So
So horrible.
yeah, so it's Captain Chaos for you. Help me. So here's the question, right? If you put yourself in her shoes, they tell you that you have a week to leave. And the solution is to wipe your brain clean and install a copy that was made a week ago. So technically, you would lose a week of memories. What would be your reaction? What is your thought? What would you do? Um, if you want, I can let you start. This was a conversation that it was heated that we were having.
I almost punched him. To me, it's very simple. Like I said before, if you're at peace with the idea of death and you're not afraid of it, you don't give a shit.
Mhm. Yeah,
To me,
pretty
for
much.
example, personally, where we are, okay, dale, let's go with it. I don't give a
Mhm.
shit. But with somebody that holds on to life, dear life, and they are afraid of the idea of death, then that self preservation instinct kicks in, and you will be terrified
Yeah.
to stop to cease being and think that it's not gonna be me. It's gonna be a copy of me. It's gonna be something else because my consciousness is stopping here. I'm getting my brain wiped. So for sure, me is not gonna be there. It's gonna be a replication of me. Even if it looks the same and it behaves the same, it's not this person.
And here's what I disagree, right? But let me do a caveat, which I also mentioned to Captain Chaos when we were having the conversation. This is all based on the technology that is used to do this, right? So obviously today we don't have the technology or the means to do this. So if someone tells me that they're going to do it, I'm obviously going to say no.
I mean, how great would it be if you have a wife and then she always has a headache, so you get a copy of her that doesn't have headaches?
Assuming that we are in this world where technology is far advanced enough that we can get this done.
Baby, you have a headache? That's okay. Your double doesn't.
So I think considering that I would only lose a week, I think I would go ahead with the procedure. However, here's the caveat that I mentioned to Captain Chaos when we were having this discussion. It's the fact that, honestly, you could have ideas of how you would react to specific situations. And you have logical conversations about what, for you, based on your experiences, would be the right choice, which, as you can see, is not clear cut because
Yeah.
what's right for me could be completely wrong for you.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
There's a phrase that I came up with. I haven't copyrighted, but it says, and it touches home with that. It's that in the name of love, people can commit atrocities. Why? Because I love you and I want to save you. I want to do something for your own good, and you might not want that.
Mhm.
It might be just horrible for you because I'm forcing you to do something that you just don't want.
Exactly.
You know?
So the where I'm going with this is the fact that you can talk, we can have dissertations, what you feel would be the right choice for a specific scenario based on your experience. And that could be correct for you, right? You might have other people that agree, maybe to a different point of view, or maybe to a different level as you. However, the caveat that I have is, honestly, we don't know what we would actually do when face to face with a situation. So I could tell you, I would, given the fact that the technology is far advanced enough that this could be done. If it is to save my life and I have to give away a week of my life, go ahead and do it. But however, if I'm sitting down face to face with that doctor and he's giving me that news, I wouldn't know what I actually would do. It makes sense to me that I would say yes, but I don't know.
Of course.
So, what would you do in a situation like, or what do you think you would? That would be the perfect question. Not what would you do, because we don't know what we would do, but what do you think you would do? What do you think would be right for you?
Hashtag WWRD. What would Robert do?
And not make Robert watch Babylon 5?
No, that's another hashtag.
I'll make him watch it, Rob. Don't worry, Ray. I'll make him watch Babylon 5. I'm gonna do like Orange Clockwork, keep his eyes open, and just have to wait, like putting drops on his eyes while he watches. He gets traumatized with it.
I don't know that our audience was prepared for a horror episode. We have Captain Chaos / the Devil talking to you live.
Having too much fun with that.
Hey, and that's what happens when we have our very own Captain Chaos on the studio. You know, how long has it been since you've been in the studio? It's been a while now.
Yeah, man. It's been.
Yeah.
My pubic hair is grown now.
Oh my
No,
god.
I'm no Bushy fans. Don't worry. Keep it clean and nice.
So,
Ding.
anything else that you could say? I mean, this is a full packed. It's so filled with so many philosophical and ethical questions here.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think that this first episode was just like an intro
Well, that's my point.
to the whole
This is
show.
only a 22-minute intro into this world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so full packed with information.
And I can attest for that because I watched the second episode, so I can confirm to him, and I did, that the first episode doesn't even give you a glimpse or an idea
Yeah.
of what's really going on. It just opens an introduction to it. But when you watch the second episode, you're like, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
So it's just an introduction, really. You need to watch more than that. That's a good thing that it's so short, that if you don't catch yourself, you watch the whole 4 episodes in less than an hour. but it's so good. I definitely recommend it. Definitely.
What other?
And I have to say, I told him privately, but
Screw you, Ray, for telling me about this anime before it had a full season out. I don't like waiting for episodes. That's just devil's play. You don't play the devil.
Oh God, Ray. Yeah, I mean, there's only 4 episodes out, and
now it's 4 episodes. When I was watching, there was only 2.
yeah, so we have to wait a week to get.
I know. I'm waiting till that shit is done, bro. Just like I did when it's run to pick up girls in the dungeon. I haven't watched the whole second season.
It-
I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not waiting for another week over and over and over. No,
Is
no,
it?
no, no.
Is it?
What?
Is it?
Is it what?
Is it wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon?
Hell no, bro. Make a harem on it.
Oh, I enjoy
And if
that.
you're gonna go Shrek all the way to it, just bang the dragon.
I find that name to be so clever, and it's not. I don't think it even relates to wholly to the story of the.
No, not really. He didn't pick her up in the dungeon.
Exactly. So
He took her to one.
we talked about this in other episodes, how the Japanese names of animes don't make any sense.
Well, the most curious one so far now is the one that also Ray suggested. Is she's like, I got reincarnated as a vending machine on a fantasy world. Like, what the? It's a competition for which one has the worst name.
Oh God, yep, yeah, I'm telling you.
And it's a competition for which one has a name that you would not freaking remember.
However, there are
How many
exceptions.
times I say I got a cheat code from another world that got me unraveled in
Oh,
the real
yeah,
world?
that's
And
a
you're
whole
like, what anime?
sentence.
What anime? And I'm like, I got a cheat from the real world that got me unraveled in the world. Like, what
It's
the
a whole
fuck with that
sentence.
name?
That's the name, the whole sentence. And when you go in to watch it, because we watch it in Crunchyroll,
They
the name
changed for
actually goes.
translation.
The name actually goes off. You can't read the full name. So, but you know what has?
But then you have 500 anime lists that start with I got reincarnated.
Yeah, but
500 of them.
But you know what has a good name?
Orisokodoji.
The gene. Oh God! Don't look it up. I'm telling you. What has a really good name?
Orisokodoji.
The Gene of AI.
Yes, he does.
And again, this is why I said there's exceptions. There's always exceptions. This anime.
But that's a proper name. And
That is a proper name.
And he actually adapts to what we're talking about.
Mhm.
It's not like I actually fall in love with a robot that copied his mom. You know, it's like next anime that we're gonna like probably is gonna be like one book to read the title, and then we get to watch the anime. 3 volumes. 1 volume is just for the title.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
I don't know what the heck is with this trend, bro, of weird anime names.
Yeah, yeah.
What's all
And you
that
know, I
about?
think that turns people off.
Well,
because
if
there
any
was
of our fans know what's the reasoning or if there's a trend about it or something, please reach out and just enlighten me.
I mean,
'Cause-
look at the one. There's one that I was telling you about, and I know if we're going slightly off topic here, but this anime, I refuse for the longest time to watch it because in the world of otome games,
Yeah.
it's hard to be a mob. I hate otome games. I hate them with a passion, right? And they have this thing. It's like, oh no, I don't. I rather get a nice isekai or some nice sci-fi anime so I can get my brain juices going. This is stupid. And I watched the first episodes like that. I mean, it's slightly related to the topic, but it's.
I mean, with a topic so long, with a title so long, something gotta relate to it, man.
I'm like, this is an awesome anime. As a matter of fact, we want to cover it in our show eventually.
Yeah.
It is definitely a nice sci-fi story. But like, if you read that name, it's hard for mobs in an otome game. I forgot what the actual name is. It's
that
too long. Don't read. But it's nothing to do with the story. So
No.
obviously, and then you look at the character, you look at the name, and you're like, no, I'm not gonna like that.
They got some creepy eyes thrown. Though.
Yeah, that's another thing
They
too.
make the purpose of that, but it's like
If you are used to watching anime, this is gonna throw you off also in the animation style. And you could we will probably talk about this on when we do this episode with Ray, but they're not your typical drawings for anime. They're your typical drawings for the Otome games.
Yeah.
So if you hate Otome games,
You're gonna love this.
you're gonna, if you hate it, you're gonna be like me. You're not
Don't
gonna
worry.
watch it.
If you're a otaku, you're gonna have just the same amount of tits and ass.
Oh my god.
No worries.
So going back to the question that I was going to ask, and we got derailed so badly, um, what, what other topic? Because this anime that we watched, The Gene of AI, is so fully packed with information. What other topic, when you watch this first episode, just grabbed you? Because I mean, we have so much stuff, and there's still much that we haven't even talked about. That was like really shocking to you when you watched this anime for the first time.
Well, there's four major things that this anime, the four major topics that this anime touches a lot. Ooh, touches a lot. that he heavily capitalized on, and is psychology, philosophy, social politics, and technology.
Yes.
Heavily. When you look at it, these creators did their due diligence to inform themselves, and they did a great job. It looks so freaking plausible the way that they play it out. That is that beauty. Like the way that you see society evolving, it makes you feel like it's not far from reality.
Yeah.
Because that's why we have, like, it shows like we really haven't changed socially that much. That when you look at people walking around driving their cars, even though they're electric or futuristic, looking like all new,
Hmm.
but the way that society in the whole is structured hasn't changed much. So it brings it home with that little touch of something that is far beyond our reach, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, technology is just in the cradle of humanoid like machines. That's still not, for you, it's thousands of years. For me, still, I'm not going to live to see that probably.
Yeah.
I hope so. Maybe I'm 90s, wrinkle prune, and I have a sexy girlfriend with a sharpener in the butthole. Come on, hey, baby.
Please help me. Oh my
Come
god.
over here, baby. I want to sharpen my pencil.
So I'm dude, I am so curious for our fans, and especially those who do not like, if you do not like anime but you love hard sci-fi. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Just like I said, it's only 22 minutes, but 20 minutes if you cut
Mhm.
away the entrance and the intro and the outro. Um, watch it and come back to us and let us know. I am so curious to hear your thoughts. Um,
Yeah.
if I find it very hard to believe, and let me know. I mean, it's kind of hard for us to actually answer this question because we do love anime, right? But I, for some reason, I find it so hard to believe that if you are a hard sci-fi lover, that not liking this anime. What do you
Hard
think?
sci-fi.
But what do you think? I mean,
I think you could. I don't know, man. I mean, you have to like sci-fi, or at least like cerebral stuff to enjoy the show.
that's what I was saying.
If
Hard
you just
sci-fi.
want brainless entertainment, this is not the show for you.
No.
I can tell you that off the bat, so you don't waste your time. But if you like cerebral stuff, things that are gonna make you think about social issues and philosophy, existentialism, things like that, this is your show. This is the place to go. I think that anime will get you thinking and going, and it's gonna make you reconsider so many things about what. I mean, one funny thing about technology and science that I find ironic is that we as a society, or as the masses, stay in a skeptical state of mind until it's here, and it's too late to see it coming. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
So there's a new technology. Oh, there's a self-driving car. Ah, no, that's bullshit or whatever. Now we have it. Oh shit, it's real.
Yeah.
And that happens with every new vanguardist technology that we get. Is people don't believe it. People are skeptical about it until they don't really get to do the due process to receive it properly because they don't believe it or they don't research it. So when they realize that it's real, it's here already.
Yep.
So it takes them by surprise.
Yeah. Definitely. And another thing that I gotta mention though, that I think we forgot to mention, the like you said, we mentioned that this anime is new. There's
Mhm.
only 4 episodes. And usually what comes with that is the fact that they haven't gotten around to translate it to English. So you could either watch it like we did, which is with the subtitles, and I know some people don't like subtitles. Even at that, I strongly recommend. It might make a better experience by reading it
Yeah.
because of the content of the anime.
That way you can have your own little voices in your head reading it for you, like, oh my god.
However, if you wait long enough, they will have the translation because that's usually what happens. And I can never tell. It depends on the studio, and they never let you know when they're going to do the translation. But that's why we have the voice actors. As soon as the show comes in, they go straight to work. And once it's done, then we'll get the
Mhm.
English translation to
Yeah.
the show. So if you are curious,
And
just
please come to our Discord so you can shame me because I don't really like watching anime in Japanese.
yeah, I watch in English.
No, I know but there's like I think that this is just and I don't give a shit if you're gonna find anybody, but this is an otaku gatekeeping shit where they're like,
Well,
oh, you like watching dubbed anime? That's so whack. You should watch it in Japanese because that's the original stuff.
well, I have my very own thoughts on that, and I think because I come from an era of anime where this was a fact, right? And I was one of those back in the day.
Gatekeeper.
Because, well, not necessarily, but I'll explain why, right? So when you watch anime back in the day, um, you want to watch it in Japanese because the voice acting back then, I'm sure they didn't know what they were doing. It was a new career.
Arara.
People didn't really know that you needed to act.
Yeah. They
So
didn't consider it acting, which is funny because I think
exactly. So
it's more difficult because you had to sync up yourself with something else that is not you physically and
but that's
body
now.
language wise.
That is now.
Yeah.
Back then, how many? I mean, even look at those old timey Chinese martial arts, where the voice goes off to the mouth goes to the other way. And this is what happened in anime back in the days as well, where they were treating it as translations.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where this comes from, where you watch it in Japanese because the Japanese were acting it and you feel the emotion when you're going through the scene versus, oh, I got shot. Ow, ow, that hurts. I mean, I'm
Now we
exaggerating.
got the AI reading engines that you can write something out and they go like, I got shot.
Uh,
Ow,
but
ow, ow.
I am exaggerating, obviously, but it's just to prove a point, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why I chose to watch my anime in Japanese with English translation. However, since Cowboy Bebop, and I had to mention it because to me, Cowboy Bebop was a catalyst. This is the very first time that and remember, your experiences will be different than mine. That was the first anime that I watched where voice acting was a thing.
And it was so good.
The
Cowboy
voice
Bebop,
acting
bro.
was amazing, and I didn't know what to do with myself because anime was meant to be watched in Japanese until I watched Cowboy Bebop and it changed my mind.
Or so you thought.
Granted, there has been some animes that came after Cowboy Bebop that still treat it as a translation. So they weren't, you still, and this is where the thing comes in, where you see, oh no, you gotta watch it in Japanese. Now, today, that's a different story.
Mhm.
There's careers, and
Come on, bro. Even hentais are awesome now,
Be-
dubbed.
these people are actors, and they do an amazing job. So this is where I say to you, I am with you. I watch Japanese anime in English
Yeah.
today,
Me too.
unless
There are some
On-
that still fall short of good voice acting, but I think that that's just a matter of resources, depending on the animators. There's some that is still better to watch in Japanese because they haven't gotten such great voice acting for the English version.
I
But that's not the case for the majority nowadays.
yeah
That doesn't happen
nowadays
anymore.
yeah you have great voice
Oh
actors
my god.
that do an amazing job.
You
And
can even enjoy certain things a lot more in Japanese, and certain things you can enjoy a lot more in the dub version because they're able to capitalize on the idioms and the cultural labels, so you can enjoy each thing separately.
yeah, I agree. So that's my long-winded explanation as to why I watch English, because it's not needed in today's society. In today's age of anime, is
Hmm.
not needed anymore.
Yeah.
I would watch it in Japanese in the case of this anime, where translation hasn't been done yet, or sometimes you start an anime and you get to, like, let's say for example they have 10 episodes but they only translated 5, and you get desperate because you want to know what happened in the next episode. So yeah, I would watch it in Japanese only because the English version is not available.
You know, today watching the anime, actually, I got a fantastic idea. I want to make friends with Japanese so I can learn to speak Japanese.
You know, full immersion is still the best way to learn a language.
Soto des Jankaruro senpai.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess that leads us to our final question, and it's this Captain Chaos favorite question.
Final thoughts, initial thoughts, middle thoughts,
Well,
and before middle thoughts.
so this is only one question: is what is your last thought on this anime? After watching it so many times.
I mean, I watched the first episode maybe 5 times. It's great. I'm making a promise not to watch it till I got the first season because I'm gonna binge watch that, and it's so charged and loaded that I don't want to just bother myself watching something to make more questions. Because the second episode just create a whole encyclopedia of question marks. So I'm just waiting for it to have at least one season. I definitely recommend it to everybody. It's coming on a weekly basis. I can attest for that because I've seen it happening. So go and check it out. Uh, if you like brainy things, if you like to put your mind on against the wall with wow and aha moments, that show is for you. You are gonna love it. I think that the animation style is very nice. It's refreshing because it's different.
Yeah.
It's
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 very different.
it's nothing very common to see, and I like every time that I see an animator that it's. I think it's a bold move to make a new style of animation, but
Yes.
when it happens and it works out for the best, it's a total success. Happens the same thing with Nightcall.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole even though it's not sci-fi, but it's one of the animes that I'm in love with now. And I mean, it was a bold move. It's a new animation style, Samurai Champloo. It's a whole
Yes. Oh
independent
yes.
indie animation style, but it
Mhm.
was a total success. Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yes.
So the list is endless, but these are venturing moves that can give a director or an animator total success in the market. Because even Demon Slayer, even though you're not a fan of it, but you will notice that their animation style is completely different from anything else you watched. And so these animes, I love them because besides being rich in their content and context, they are a whole beautiful experience just to watch too. Music wise and animation, so colorful and unique on the way that they're made. So I definitely suggest it for somebody. Again, this is hard science fiction and a lot of psychology and philosophy. So just to give you an idea, I don't want to suggest to somebody that doesn't really interest on that to go and watch it. It will be a waste of time. I don't know anybody to waste the time.
Yeah.
But I'll give this anime a 9 out of 10 on how much I like it. Even though
Awesome.
we don't rate things,
Yeah.
we should start rating things. Just for the fucks of it. That this is Geo rating and this is Robert rating.
How many Captain Chaoses do you give this?
It's
So
about making it good, not bad.
so wow, you actually like read my mind because most of the stuff that you said, that's actually part of what I was going to say.
I can read your dirty thoughts.
So uh and I think it is the testament to the type of story that we are watching. It is a testament to the storytelling and how well they're able to hold the audience um, attention
Yeah.
to what they want to show you in the time that they have to show you. This the first caveat that I have to give you is you have to be willing to go past the language. and be able to just sit down somewhere that you can concentrate.
And learn Japanese.
No, and read. Now, I would have to say that is a benefit to this show, to this anime, because you want to sit down and watch this to analyze. You don't want to. This is not something that you would put in the background. It is something that you have to pay attention, and so that's why I said that the fact that it's in Japanese and you have to read it might be beneficial for comprehension.
I'll tell you this. Till this day, we have not yet mastered escaping from little language details and cues like idioms that can get a lot of meaning lost in translations. So sometimes you might benefit more from watching something on the original language with translation because there are certain things like that are culturally labeled that you cannot really put a finger on and translate them.
Yeah,
So it's better to watch a subtitle version of it that will give you a better idea of it. That when they try to translate it, and I'm not gonna mention company names so we don't get sued or something, but I've seen companies that have animes that they're streaming, and when you're watching and you're reading the translation, you're like, that's not what it means.
yeah,
Or like they just got the context completely off.
yeah,
And it doesn't make sense. Like underwear, panties, panties.
yeah.
Gee. Now, if you're an attacker, you know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, but the reason why I was mentioning, and you have a point there, yeah, I do agree with that point. But the reason why I was talking about it is the fact that I want you to be prepared, because this anime is very brainy.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can read it, granted, when this comes out in English, I will be watching it in English. I can guarantee you that. But I think that number one, you have to be able to like hard sci-fi. You have to be able to like things that make you think to be able to enjoy this show.
Yeah.
And the fact that you read it, it actually helps comprehension because, again, I repeat, this is the type of show that you want to sit down and you want to concentrate on watching. And again, I am very curious to hear your thoughts. If you just watch the first episode, 22 minutes. If you don't like it, it's 22 minutes of your life that, you lose, and it's not losing like a whole hour. And then come back to us, go to our Discord. You can reach out to us on Threads, Instagram, Twitter, or should I say X now, and reach out to us and let us know what you think. I'm really, really curious, especially if you are a hard sci-fi lover. What do you think about this one single episode?
And remember,
I will be under your bed waiting for you at night with the lights.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
See you later.
with
I think that would conclude our episode, right?
yeah. So I think we are we ready for yours? Now it has become his segment. So
Shout outs.
Ray should feel very honored that he has taken on
The chaos
next
on
segment.
science.
There we go.
It's gonna be called the chaos on science, right?
The science and sci-fi. The science and sci-fi.
What? What?
It deserves twice because
He
our
said
very
the-
own Captain Chaos is doing the science.
Didn't he say
in
the
sci-fi.
science can sci-fi?
Oh, awesome.
man.
So Ray, you has trained us well. Thank you. He got tired of listening us, talking
Yep.
crap.
Oh man. Wait for this, man. I'm gonna talk about actually just putting into a video game tape your brain. Well, I did a little bit of research about theoretical framework and things about uploading minds into virtual spaces,
Mhm.
which kind of gives you a little bit idea of what humanoids will go through, and it kind of paints a picture of what you kind of see also in Altered Carbon, for example,
Mm.
where all the upload show that you can get a personality copy. Because I mean, there's certain lines of beliefs that even think that the soul itself is just energy code that can be transferred or manifested in other ways, quantum physically.
And again, we're talking about theoretical topics.
Mhm.
There's things that are still being researched. and it's in a theory stage. But it is very, very fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. And what I chose to speak today about is about neural mapping and connect. It's called connectomics. And
Okay.
basically, what it says is that to achieve mind uploading, a detailed map of an individual's brain, known as connectome, would be required. A connectome is a comprehensive representation of all neural connections and synapses within the brain. While we have made significant progress in mapping the connections of simpler organisms, creating a complete human connectome remains a daunting challenge due to the sheer complexity and vast number of neurons in a human brain. So it's very interesting to see that this could be possible virtually because it will be a whole new turning point back on technology evolution if you think about it.
Yeah.
The moment that we can put something that is sentient on a virtual space, then it's not gonna be AI.
It's kind of
It's gonna be AI, but it's gonna be a replicate. It's gonna be giving birth to a replication of our humanity into another plane of existence.
it's a little scary because it doesn't matter which IP, which sci-fi IP you are interested in or your love. There's always going to be some sort of either scientifical discovery or scientific theory that gets you closer to that reality. In the case of this over here, we obviously we've seen the creation of artificial bodies like Boston Robotics.
Hmm.
I think that would be very necessary to include AI in the locomotion of these things.
Yes,
Um,
which is it is.
and then you have the what you're reading about the in theory is the copy of consciousness that would allow for the reality on this particular IP or this particular universe to become a reality that is closer to home.
Hmm.
Eh, Again, I repeat, this is a theory. It's in theory. It's actually beginning research, um, but that's where science starts, and that's what I love about science so much is the fact that you have a theory, you do your experiments, you write a conclusion on your experiments. Your
Hmm.
results might change your initial thought. So
Yes.
you would actually mention what your initial thoughts were. And at the end, on your conclusion, you mention how your initial thoughts differed based on the results of your experiment. And then you publish that as a peer review.
Yeah.
Other scientists will read that, and you have again, and I spoke to this in previous episodes where you have scientists that might look at this and say, "Oh, this is crap," and let me prove you why. So then they have their beginning hypothesis. They do their experiment, and then depending on what the results of that particular experiment, which by the way is usually slightly different because you use different not only methods but equipment to do your testing, and you come up with a conclusion that in most cases will show what your initial thought or how your initial thoughts changed based on the results on that
Hmm.
experiment. Then you have, in the other hand, other scientists that said, "Oh, he's very clever. I can see how that works, and let me prove why." So they write their statement, they do their experiment, and then in their conclusion, they tell you how their initial statement changed based on the results from their experiment. And you have this multiplied by thousands. So you have a body of knowledge creating research papers on a particular topic. And the idea is to have more than 50%
Hmm.
agreeing with a concept for that to become something that, crap, there
And,
might be something up to that.
and you just explain the simplicity of what science is about. It's about trial and error till basically what you call uh, a practical use of that theory can be used. What that's the no returning point. Once you can actually put that theoretical hypothesis into practice,
Mhm.
then there's no saying that doesn't work. You will get another result from it, but you cannot deny
Yeah.
the reality of something theoretical that became real.
Yeah.
And I mean, a simple example is string theory and relativity. If I get to use the practical use of relativity, if you want to give me string theory, you can prove the string theory still exists, but you cannot deny anymore that the laws of relativity are absolute too.
We have, and we discussed this. And again, I preface by saying we're not scientists, right? But
We are, because Ray says that you just have to be a citizen of the world to be a scientist.
well,
I
and
just need a white robe.
if you want a clue, what you want to do is you want to question everything, and um try to question the right questions.
And be confused. Question questions and be confused.
So uh, basically, that's how science work, and how the wonders of that is you question everything. You even question the equipment that you're doing to do your experiment.
Mhm.
You question everything. And science always changed. There has been and again, going back to what I was going to say, you have half the scientists that believe in string theory, and the other believe in quantum.
Mhm.
And they both have really valid reasons for why they feel their branch is the answer to the question of the universe, not 42. And
3.
if you are a sci-fi fan, especially um, British sci-fi, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they, I subscribe to the quantum side.
I subscribe to YouTube channels.
So I believe more on as quantum, the quantum realm being the answer to the universe. But I have actually heard, and again, I'm not a scientist, right? So I have heard the points made on the side of string theory, and I do agree.
So you will say that based on quantum theories, if I get an erection on this life, there's something else quantum entangled somewhere in the universe that is getting an erection from me too.
Captain Chaos is in my house. Please help me. Help
You didn't
me.
answer yes or no.
No, I
Yes.
can't answer that because it's
Yes.
not.
Yes. My dick is quantum entangled to another dick.
I refuse to answer that. It's not a scientific fact.
What the heck did my brain just do?
It is not a scientific fact. Oh my god! But going back to the topic, this is the great thing, and I said this at the beginning of this segment, is the fact that you could, if you look up to science, you could see how these writers, and this goes beyond just the stuff that we're talking about. This is every sci-fi writer, especially if they have a real good, valid story. They did their research, and what they did the research on is scientific papers, peer review.
Mhm.
And that's why sci-fi is a thought experiment. It's something that someone is thinking about.
And no, you should not say I read that on the internet.
So yeah, and I question everything. Question everything. Like if you read it on the internet, someone said it that is true. You should question yourself. Okay, who is this person?
Mhm.
Why are they qualified to talk about this particular topic? Is the topic valid? How many peer reviews agree with his topic? And
Mhm.
this is the kind of logic thinking that we need today.
Yep. Like the saying says, man.
Question authority. Think for yourselves.
Yeah, don't do like in the movie They Live.
I'm here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm out of chewing gum.
So is that would that conclude the segment?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on vomiting shit about it. But I mean, just to close on thing, actually, let me read this little part because it touches a lot about the illegality of copying humanoids
Okay.
personality. But it shows here basically um, Additionally, the development of brain-computer interfaces (BCIs) has opened up a new possibility of interfacing human brain with digital systems. BCIs allows direct communications between the brain and external devices, enabling paralyzed individuals to control robotic limbs and even interact with computer through their thoughts. Now, the other thing is that mind uploading also brings forth a host of ethical dilemmas and philosophical questions.
Yes.
These include concerns about personal identity, individuality, and implications of duplicating one's consciousness. Philosophers and ethics community uh, continue to debate whether a virtual copy of oneself would truly be you or merely a sophisticated simulation.
Yes. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. And that's why I told you when we had that discussion that I agree and disagree at the same time, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's just not making up his mind.
But no, I do agree 100% with that. And that is a valid question. Because let's take it a little further. They have the copy, they use it on you. What is it that would not allow them to install it somewhere else?
Yeah.
So now there's two of you.
I mean, it would be nice if it would be two of me, but one has a pussy.
It is a good thing why we're ending this show.
Yeah.
So I thank you again so much for being with us. I mean, me and Gio can speak to that. The fact that we are very grateful that you are with us week after week. You are the reason why we do the show. We really appreciate you coming every week to listen to our show, or
Oh, to listen to me. I know that I'm the hot
if,
stuff.
if you go to our YouTube channel and listen to us. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. But we're really thankful for not only your presence in the show, but for also the engagement with us.
And aren't you thankful for me, bro?
Mhm.
Aren't you thankful for me? You should be thankful for me. I'm the best of the best of the best.
Please help me. So thank you so much for being a part of this show. If you like this show, please help us by sharing with all the people that you know that love sci-fi, and make sure you not only share or post to the This Is Sci-Fi hashtag, but also join our community on Discord. The link is in the description.
And if you feel sleepy, buy us a coffee.
There you go. We are in Buy Me a Coffee, and we are also in Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we also have a website, sciencefictionremnant.com.
Where we write actually articles and we accept also collaborations. So if you like sci-fi and you like writing content about it, reach out to us. That's why we have a Discord channels where we get reach out to us and talk live with us about anything you like.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, if you like writing, reach out. We might be posting your article on our website.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being with us, and see you next time.
Till next time.